we are going to be adding some details to our buildings. So we're going to start with this one. And I would like to remind you all that I am filming these at school. So if there are any interruptions, please just ignore those. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add windows to this building. So this building is going to be kind of one of those old-timey downtown ones. So the windows are not going to be huge. Back in the day that these were probably built, they probably could not have full-on wall windows since they didn't have the materials for that, or the building materials to support buildings of that size with windows as big. So we're going to make some smaller windows for this. So what you got to start with, line up your ruler with your vertical line of this building, and then we're going to measure for guidelines with the top of the window and the bottom of the window, because these are not going to be floor to ceiling high. So go ahead and do mine. Okay, so I've got little dots at the top and bottom of each floor, and what I'm going to do now is align each of these dots to both vanishing points, so on both sides. And draw these lines lightly. Okay, so I've got my guidelines for each of the windows on this side, so now I just have to get them on this side, which means they have to be lined up to the right vanishing point. So you're going to line them up where they meet this line here, and then with the vanishing point here. So now that I have guidelines for my windows on both sides of my building, I have to figure out how wide they're going to be. And you have to remember, objects get smaller the closer they get to the vanishing point, which means that the windows are going to be larger closer to this corner than they will be to these sides. Also, you want to make sure that you're not putting windows on the corners of the building. Again, they had to have support beams there, so windows were not generally at corners of buildings, when old buildings anyway. Nowadays, we've got, the materials to have windows pretty much anywhere, but alright, so I've got these first two lines are going to be my first window. So now I got to jump a little bit for this next space. Okay, so this is about where I'm going to be placing my windows. I may move lines over a little bit, but that is about where I want them. So what you're going to do, line up your ruler vertically, and then only draw vertical lines between your top and bottom guidelines that you drew for your window on each floor. Like that. I think I'm going to make this center one on the bottom floor a door, so I'm just going to have it go all the way down to the ground. You guys can choose whichever window area you want on your first floor to make your door. I might have to move these over some. If that happens, that's fine. You just edit as you go. If you're not sure which one your windows are, leave this space. This is wall. And just do this in your windows. So every other area should be a window. Once you finish one side of your building, you can move on to the other side. Alright, so you may not have a whole lot of room for as many windows on the front. It just depends on how wide you drew this wall. Once you get those guidelines done, those little marks done, go ahead and draw your vertical lines for your windows. And then do the same thing you did on the front with your windows to figure out which ones are your windows and which ones are your walls. So next we have to add our bricks to this building because this is one of those old-timey downtown buildings and they're going to have, you know, bricks. So I'm using the guidelines that I drew for my windows, but I'm also going to add lines that are the same distance apart as these are. So like I drew mine about 1/8 of an inch wide, so I'm going to make the rest of my marks 1/8 of an inch wide. Now that I have my marks, draw the lines to the guidelines, or to the vanishing points. Do not draw through your windows or your doors. Alright, once you get the lines done on one side, do them on the other. Now you've got all the tops and bottoms of your bricks done. Now you have to do the vertical lines. In a brick pattern, your vertical lines are going to alternate. All right, so make sure you've got your ruler lined up vertically. And don't draw a vertical line all the way down. You're gonna draw every other row. Make sure your bricks are getting smaller the farther away they get from this vertical line, or the closer they get to the vanishing point. All right, and once you finish one side, go ahead and do the other one. Again, keep in mind, these bricks are going to get smaller the closer they get to the vanishing point. Also, when bricks are laid out, they do this at the corner, so you're going to have one side's going to have the long side here, and then the next row down the long side. Okay, so you want to make sure you are starting your vertical lines on the other set. So if you started at the top, you're going to start at the second row. And that is our first building complete. We will be adding some details to the other two buildings. I think we need to add a door to this one and then windows to this one, but we will do that in part 3.